Never thought it would come to this. So much hate, envy, betrayal, and lies. All for what? Power, control, money? Soon enough we'll see who has true value, and they'll see it was never worth it. What's up, good people? I know it's been a minute, but we back. We in full effect, and we got some stuff to talk about. I recently was just incarcerated, so I had some time to do a lot of thinking. And while I was in there, I started working on my book. You know what I'm saying? So let me just get straight to the point, because I'm on this camera and I don't know how much time it's gonna be able to record. So I'm just about to get straight to the case. Let me open it up and just get straight to it, y'all. Now, the book that I titled it is called Law of Deception and Manipulation. And then my table of contents goes as introduction, mind of a manipulator, the mind of a deceiver, manipulation through magic, the spirits behind deception and manipulation, the people behind it, and then the laws of deception. And then I'm going to also go on to who is manipulated, and then go into greater details about the manipulators. Alright, without further ado, let's get straight to it. And if I'm looking crusty or sweaty, it's hot in here, and I'm just trying to get this out the way, man. Alright, let's proceed. Hello, fellow learner of truth. You have made a wise decision to open up this book. Today you shall embark on some truth about life you may or may not know. This is not necessarily hidden knowledge, being though so many know of these things, but it can be considered hidden from the mass majority of the population. Consider yourself blessed for taking the time to read this book, or as you're doing, listening to it. I was inspired to write this because I would have personally been manipulated, and also I was a manipulator, to be honest. I too could have fell for all the enemy's strong deceptions if Jesus Christ never opened my eyes. I took many years studying the Bible and books like How the Illuminati Make an Unidentified Mind Control Slave, Battlefield of the Mind, 48 Laws of Power, and many other sources. I hope and pray this book not only gives you more insight, but also encourages you on this journey called life. So without further ado, let us begin. And also, I would like to say this book is not going to be politically correct. The grammar is not going to be there, the punctuation. So for all of you teachers or just people that just always want to come around and see, I'm gonna let you know that right now. So and you know I don't care. But here, let's get straight to it. Chapter 1, the mind of a manipulator. First, before we talk about the mind of a manipulator, let's learn what it means to manipulate. Manipulation is basically to use somebody, to lie to them, to y'all can look it up on Google and go on Webster. I'm supposed to have the definition in there, but I was writing this without everything. But you can look up the definition for manipulation. But so basically, to manipulate, it means to alter something that already is. The psychology of a manipulator is to change someone that already is. For example, let's talk about music. How many times have you or known someone to listen to music when they are going through something emotionally, or listen to music and started feeling emotional? Many artists, especially in the mainstream media, make what you can call mood music, which can target specific emotions, feelings, and actions. You will have artists who make music about drugs even though they don't do or sell drugs themselves. Or they'll promote a sexual persona, but they aren't that promiscuous in real life. Then the listeners of these artists are inspired to sell or do drugs or have an overly sexual persona. Which explains why so many are incarcerated, dead, and so many children are born out of wedlock. That's not even the saddest part. A lot of these artists are being manipulated and used themselves by what you can call a handler. But I'll elaborate more on that as we keep on reading. They are merely a puppet, pawn, or slave to the master manipulator's agendas, which is why so many artists have spoke out against the industry. Prince wrote "Slave" on his cheek. Michael Jackson spoke against Sony and made songs like "They Don't Care About Us." And Lauryn Hill made songs such as "Get Out" and "Mystery of Iniquity." And the list goes on manipulators. They only want power, and they do that through money, fancy appearances, guilt trips, and they also use fear tactics. But to sum up the whole mentality of a manipulator is simple. A manipulators manipulate so they can feel better who they are and what they have done. Now let's keep going. Now let's go to the mind of a deceiver. Now let's talk about the mind of a deceiver. Let's first see the definition of deceive. Deceive is to basically lie, to trick, false notions, false personas and everything. Hold on, son, I'm recording, okay? So, to sum up, a deceiver is basically like the same as a liar. When I think of a liar, I think of a father of lies, which is the devil. They say the greatest deception the devil ever did was making the world believe he doesn't exist. He started his deception in heaven, but came here on earth to deceive God's people. We can see that example in the beginning of the Bible with the story of Adam and Eve. He appeared as a serpent to Eve, telling her it's okay to partake of a fruit that God precisely told Adam and Eve not to take of. But that deception brought a curse upon man. And with that sin, that brought a curse upon man. Let me come back here. I'm sorry, y'all. The whole mentality of a deceiver is to steer you away from the truth in order for you to be lost in bondage, fearful, and blind to actuality. And if you are aware of Albert Pike, he's one of the grand masters of the Illuminati. He even says to steer people away from the truth when they find out about it. Hold on, son. Come on, might as well open the door now. Reporting live. This is what it's like in the real life of me. Close the door behind you. Don't touch nothing, because I'm still recording.
Okay.
How long, what's the time say on there?
It's, what about it?
How long does it say it's been recording? How many minutes?
I don't know. I don't see anything.
Okay, well, that's alright. I'm going to keep going. Chapter 3. We also have manipulators who manipulate through magic. Now, let's get straight to it. I know what some of you are thinking. Magic? Really? This isn't no Hollywood cinema or no Harry Potter book. Well, if you think that, also ask yourself this. What is Hollywood's infatuation with magic? Why do they repeatedly make films and books about magic, witches, sorcerers, wizards, and etc.? And then ask, are they getting this information or inspiration from where? Because everything has an origin. Where are they getting these ideas and these thoughts of all of these different things from? If you type, get away from the camera. Get away from the camera. This is the blooper reel. But anyway, if you type magic on YouTube, you will see tons of videos of openly admitted witches teaching how to cast spells on people. They have spells for money, love, and whatever else you can think of. These practitioners don't believe in these arts for nothing, and haven't been practicing these spells for years for no reason. They have seen results. It is forms of magic. Some so subtle you wouldn't even notice until you obtain the proper knowledge to understand it. You have sigil magic, which deals with signs and symbols in order to alter your reality. And you can see sigil magic throughout logos and other pictures and images across the world. Sigil magic ties in with subliminal messaging. And I will talk more about subliminal messaging later on in this book or in this conversation. Then you have voodoo, which I'm sure many of you have heard of and probably think of a doll being poked with pins. But it is more than just that. They also practice what you can call spirit cooking, which involves in the sacrifice of animals and using other items to invoke demonic spirits. One of the key fundamentals throughout magic and witchcraft is ritual. Ritual is basically repetition and meditation. If you're familiar with the WikiLeaks, you'll know about the spirit cooking in the Pizzagate that they were doing and all of the child stuff that was going on within there. But you can do many forms of rituals in many ways. Like if you join an occult, or simply watching and doing the same thing repeatedly. And I'm not just saying just because you do something repeatedly is bad, but you got to know the intent behind what you're doing. So if you constantly watch porn, that's why people turn into nymphos, or you constantly, anything form of repetition can be considered also a form of ritual. And yeah. You got to know that it also has SRAs behind it, and that's from satanic ritual abuse. Sorry that I'm reading this like this. It's hot in here, and I'm trying to get all my thoughts. But hold up, let me pause it real quick, too.
Is it voodoo or voodoo doll?
Yeah. Alright, we back. Part 2. A lot of distractions, but hopefully y'all can catch on to what I'm saying. And I'm going to put this out in a written form so it'll be easier to understand. Because I know from the way I'm talking, I know it's kind of probably hard for you to catch on. But like I said, it's hot in here. You can see the sweat on my head. And you know, got distractions and stuff coming about. But let's pick on where we just left off at. We was talking about the manipulation through magic. And I was talking about the ritual side of it. A lot of people are going through what you can call SRA, which is satanic ritual abuse. And they have that means of different reputations. They love to use fear to scare a person. They love to use stuff to entice you. Like the devil is a tempter. Like if you even hear about Jesus in the wilderness, he didn't just come to Jesus with nothing. He was coming with Jesus with scriptures. He was trying to tell him he'll give him the world and everything. So Satan is a cunning individual, and he is really slick. And we're going to talk about spirits next. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. That's the next chapter. But let's continue reading now. Alright. Satanic ritual abuse stems from people being ritualistically abused until the point they lose their minds, get possessed, tormented by demons, until some even kill or commit suicide. You can see a good form of SRA in the films The Manchurian Candidate, Get Out, but the book How the Illuminati Makes an Unidentified Mind-Controlled Slave by David Icke really goes into more details. So if you want to learn more, a good place to start your research would be that book, How the Illuminati Makes the Unidentified Mind Control Slave. But Do not allow Hollywood and these practitioners to desensitize you to the truth about magic. If you are Christian, be advised that the Bible strictly speaks against witchcraft, sorcery, astrology, and any other force other than the power of God. Now, moving on to the spirits behind deception and manipulation. As some atheists even can admit, you don't have to be religious to be spiritual. With that being said, it is safe to say spiritual understanding throughout the world's culture. With that being said, it is a spiritual understanding throughout the world's cultures, beliefs, and economy. You can even see liquor bottles with the word spirit on it, and some bars even advertise they sell wine and spirits. So what exactly is a spirit? It's an entity, a force, a being other than this fleshly shell we deal with and we see here right now. And how are we to identify whether they are good or bad? How can we tell if a spirit is good or bad? Well, the Bible simply tells us to test the spirits, to know if they're a spirit of error, or if they're an evil spirit, or if they're good. You can't test the spirits, you don't even know the right answers, and you don't know what the actual truth is of what these spirits are here to accomplish, or why they're even taking the time out to do what they're doing. You have to actually know what the truth is behind what they're doing in the first place. So, let's talk about how spirits deceive and manipulate in the different types. Sorry about that. We're running out of space on this thing. We might have to make this a two-part series. But to leave off what we was talking about Lucifer, how he tried to test you and manipulate. He's the master spirit behind all of this. He's the one that's the main deceiver and manipulator. And he does this with money. He does this with fear. He does this with trying to act like he's your friend, somebody that's with you, but he's really an enemy. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And like I was saying before the video got cut off, that's the false prophets that's already here in this world, like the Bible says. Alright. Let's move on to the rest of this. Make sure I'm in the right spot. He tried to test him. Lucifer continued to try to manipulate and deceive Jesus, but did not succeed. So it left him no choice but to flee. So with this example, we can see Lucifer would try to bribe you with money, egg you on to do something stupid, and even use scripture out of context to manipulate and deceive you. With that being said, that leads us to the next spirit, the Antichrist spirit. Most believers know Revelations and how the Antichrist is to rise up to power and start the tribulations. But do believers know that the Bible also teaches that the Antichrist spirit has been already here among us? So with that being said, what exactly are the characteristics of the Antichrist? Well, it must certainly be everything in the opposite of the true Christ, which is why Satanists use the upside down crosses, which is why they have satanic Bibles, and they also have churches like the believers of the true Christ. And they do everything in reverse, which is why backmasking has become so popular among Satanists. But there is more to the spirit than just being anti-God. In order for the spirit to be an opposite, it must know actually what the true spirit is. So that spirit will pretend to be holy, like Lucifer, in order to deceive more people. It studies and spies on God's people in order to imitate them. For example, if the spirit sees God's people wearing blue, it will wear it too, just so it can blend in and then attempt to come and plant its poison. As the Bible will put, it's just a wolf in sheep's clothing. Next, we have the succubus, or what I like to call the energy vampire. Its job is to drain you of all good positive energy and attempts to weaken you with worry, doubt, and condemnation. A good example of how this spirit operates is as follows. Say you have an associate and all they talk about is negative things, and they always focus on the dark side of things instead of seeing the bright side. You could be having a good day, then you start feeling sorry for them, or you try to see things from their perspective until it leaves you mad, sad, or confused, or out of your original state of mind. Or you may have a friend that just I'm sorry, I'm reading this wrong. But in all seriousness, these spirits come to manipulate and deceive you so you don't work in the purpose and walk in the life God has for you. It's many other spirits as well, such as the Jezebel spirit and the spirit of fear itself. But for the sake of staying on topic, not trying to overload you with too many spirits, I'll leave it off here. But I may write a book just about spirits. Alright guys. It is hot in here, and I don't want you guys to be confused by what I'm really trying to communicate, and I'm telling you. So it's gonna be best when I really do get this on written form and get this out here, because I'm telling you, man, it is hot in this thing. You can see the sweat on me. I'm gonna get one more chapter in for y'all, but after this one, we're gonna just take a break for later. But these chapters right here is about to just be more of, because we just covered the magic, the spirits behind it. So now we gotta cover more of the physical, the people, so you can have a better understanding how the spirits operate through people and how these people are manipulators. So, with that being said, let's talk about the people. And I made some definitions for different type of manipulators and deceivers. And this is the titles and the definitions as follows. You have the egghead. The egghead will egg you on until they get cracked or until they fall like Humpty Dumpty. You got the money-hungry glutton. They feel the world revolves around money, and without it, they feel powerless. And their influence is only strictly through money. Then you have the liar not in grips of reality. They lie about everything, even to themselves. And when it is silent, they have no choice but to fall for their own imaginations. You got the hyena. They try to desensitize everything through humor, and they also are real apologetic, and they are one of the most nosiest people of this list that I'm describing to you. That means they're going to be one of the ones that's watching you the most to try to make a joke or make something funny out of something that's actually serious. Keep that in mind. You got the weakling. They always play the victim. They use their cowardice as though it's a strong suit, and they will boast in someone else's victories because they don't possess the strength to do it themselves. So they'll brag about something that their friend did all the time, but not them, because they don't got it in them themselves. Keep that in mind. Then you got the Goliath. It wants to appear to be the biggest in the room. It loves to try to intimidate you in order for you to be impressed or afraid. It doesn't have to necessarily be physically big, because majority of the time it's actually just someone with the little guy syndrome. So they just want to just appear to be bigger, or they're insecure about who they really are. Then you got the copycat. The copycat mimics your every move. It does that in order to try to imitate you, to get close to you, or to try to have others believe that they're with you and they're part of your movement. And the copycat is the nosiest out of the whole list. But you know what, guys? I'm going to save the rest of this for later, because it is hot in here and we need to get some AC. But hopefully you guys understood for the most part what I was trying to tell you. Let me make sure this is recording. Alright. Hopefully you guys are still understanding what I'm trying to express to you about this whole mind of a deceiver and a manipulator. You know, I probably should have practiced reading it a little better and whatnot. But once you get to read it, and once I, do some more editing to it, I'm sure you'll be able to understand, because it's not that difficult. But this is only just the first part of it. Still have another half, and then I still got more stuff I want to add to it. But basically though, manipulators and deceivers, it's a spirit behind it. It is other forces behind it, because the Bible clearly says we don't battle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. So all of this police that we seeing killing these people, like somebody just died today, RIP to the 19-year-old boy that just got shot and killed today. Now we could sit up here and want to protest and cuss out the police, but it's a spirit, it's a force behind them. Just like every police officer isn't bad. It's good cops out here. I know some personally, and they have helped me. They done looked out for me in my life. I know the real enemy is not the police. The real enemy is the devil. The real enemy is those that's really practicing evil, because it's other people besides police out here killing us. It's other people besides police that's getting us locked up or falsely accusing us. We have to understand that. It is a force, and it's always been a false accusation. It even be religious people behind this, because it wasn't the police that got Jesus killed and that lied on them. It was religious people that follow him around. You have to understand, these manipulators, they will sit here and watch you and study you and follow you around and act like they with you. But like I've read in the Bible, they send people to ask you questions to try to catch you up in your words to make you look bad. And then they know that they get intimidated when you get influenced. Like when you get masses of people to look at you and to understand you, that's what they fear. They fear the people. That's when the